Hi, family. Ariel Simone, originally from Queens, New York, living in Charlotte now. Absolutely so excited to be a part of the YP movement. You know, before I got started, something that I really felt uneasy about was whether I would feel like a salesman, right? Whether I would feel like I'm constantly selling. And it dawned on me first that I had to realize everything in life is transactional. Like, there's no way around it. But secondly, if I was able to truly educate someone about something that they needed, why not? Like a resource that I know they could never live without, why not? With mentorship, right? And with a collective of people that were always lifting me and helping me understand the system, I was able to understand what we're doing is inviting. We're letting people take an honest look, an unbiased look at this information, seeing what their family needs. We're asking them questions, and then we're just moving them along in the education process. They choose these services because it's for them. They choose it because they believe in it. And then from there, yeah, do we make money? Absolutely. But who in this world doesn't off of a sales transaction, right? So excited to be a part of this movement, and I'm just so excited for you to be able to get past your fears so that we can get to the next level.
Oh, my bad.
What's up? Hey, everybody. Welcome. Josh Lockhart here. And you just saw a video. We're talking today about objections, right? In business, in sales, in recruiting, in whatever, in life, you get objections. We're going to talk about that today. I got my man, Bhavan out of California, one of our top recruiters for the state of California. And we're going to be talking about this topic, what to do about it. Is there anything you can do about it? And is there any magic words? Why do people even throw up objections? Is it normal? Does it mean that you're not skilled or a bad person if you get them? So that's what we're going to be talking about. You just saw a video from Ariel Simone. And that was an objection. Hey, I don't know if I'm good at sales. And she was handling that, right? She was handling that. You can find more of those videos. You saw it right there over at Young Pros Official on YouTube. Same on Instagram, or you can just party right here on this Facebook page. And, we're here every single week, and you can get that content. So if you think, hey, the people that I know that I'm working with on my team, right, they need to be better at handling objections, not being so scared, tag them, send this to them, share it, get it out there, because I think this is a helpful topic. So let's hop right into it. My man, Bhavan, appreciate you being here. Is this a topic that you encounter very much?
Yeah, I think we all get objections all the time. And, back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I've been in Legal Shield for 14 years this month. I joined when I was 22, 36. So I joined, and, it took me a bit of a learning curve for many years to figure out that an objection does not need to be met with, fighting words, right? Like, I don't need to go back and say, oh, well, hey, you're an idiot for not doing this, or hey, your job's not going to get you anywhere. So it took me a leurning curve. I think you were about to say something.
Or he just, we'll say stuff like, oh, he just didn't get it, or she just didn't get it,
Yeah. Or they don't know any better, right? And or whatever the case is. So one thing I started doing is, now not everybody is going to be open to having a conversation after an objection, right? Sometimes people are just like, I don't have the money and I don't want to do it. And they're not open to having a conversation. So typically when I get an objection, I'll just say, like Josh, if you had said to me, if I was prospecting you and you said, hey, you know what? I don't know if Legal Shield's for me. I don't have the money. I don't understand why I would need to pay money, or it seems like a scam or whatever. If I said, hey, Josh, I understand where you're coming from. Would you be open to having a conversation about it? If you say yeah, then it allows me to, one, use the feel, felt, found method, right? I know how you feel. I felt the same way, and what I found was ... right? But it allows me to figure out kind of where they're coming from, right? So I'll share an example. A couple weeks ago, I was prospecting someone, Now they didn't join, but when she saw the video, I followed up with her, and she had said to me, I don't have the money to get started. And that's an objection, I think, that's something people hear more than anything else, right? Am I correct on that? I don't have the money.
Yeah.
You know, and so I said to her, I can't remember. I think her name was Brandy Ann. I believe it was. Oh no, there was a lady named Sharmita. So I said, hey, Sharmita, I understand, but can I ask you a couple questions real quick? And she said, yeah, absolutely. So I said, let me ask you something. I said, because I know what it's like to not have the money to get started. And I shared my story. I said, you know what? 14 years ago, when I looked at Legal Shield, it was $249 to join. I actually had to borrow the money from my parents to get started. So I know where you're coming from. So I said to her, I said, let me ask you a question. Is it that you, in fact, don't have the $99? Or is it that maybe you have the money, but it's allocated for some bills, and maybe you don't quite see Legal Shield as a vehicle or as an opportunity that's going to help you, where it's worth the investment right away? And I said, hey, by the way, there's no wrong answer. And she actually went from, I don't have $99 to telling me, well, I do have the $99, but like you said, I have it saved for bills that I need to pay. So then I took it. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just, I don't mean to cut you off, but this is good stuff. There's so many points here that I want to make sure that we don't bypass some of this good stuff. And so for everybody watching, right, if you've gotten an objection this week, just type in the comment section what it was. Was it, so like, here's the common objections, whether it be, selling products and services, i.e. our Legal Shield service, or trying to recruit somebody. It's like, and throw one in here if you miss it, right? So it's like, no money, no time.
Yeah.
Not
good at sales.
Not good at sales. On the service side, maybe it's like, I don't know if I'd ever use that. Those
are the common ones.
Those are about the only four. If anybody has a different one, if you got a really good one, not interested in new endeavors. Nothing new. I'm not even interested in tomorrow, because that's going to be new and different. No time. So all of them kind of fit in those categories, right? And so what Bhavan just did in his story is, I know sometimes we're very afraid of objections. And have you ever heard this, Bhavan, where it'll say the best way to overcome objections is before they become an objection? Yeah. I think that for a lot that is true. There's a lot that can be handled, because you hear the same stuff all the time, right? Like as far as our service goes, it's like, oh, how do they provide such great attorney service for such a little amount, right? That's a credibility question, right? So if you handle that in the front end, you won't get that. However, what Bhavan just said was, he wasn't in like direct. He wasn't finding out about the person until she objected. Once she made the objection, then they could have a conversation about what was really going on, right? So
can I share something on that real quick?
Yeah.
So I do want to, touch on what you just said. One thing that I do try to do differently, and I think I've spoken on it before at the different times you've had me on here, is I do try to handle the objection in the beginning before I even present Legal Shield to them. And that comes from getting to know their why, getting to know what drives them, and letting them know, how this could be different than everything else. But in this situation, yes, opportunities like that did not come up. So I had to wait until the objection for her to say, I don't have the $99, and then to find out, was it really that you don't have the $99, or is it that you have the money, but you don't see Legal Shield as something that can help you make money right away because you're more concerned about this bill that you have to pay? And when she shared that with me, she said, it's not that I don't not believe in Legal Shield, but it was more so along the lines of the reward of investing that $99 right now, the payoff of investing that $99 was not greater than the bill that she had to pay that money was allocated for. So then I took that and I said to her, I said, hey, let me ask you an honest question. I said, is it safe to say that, and I told her one thing. I said, listen, if I cross any boundaries with anything I'm asking you, you can tell me that, I don't want to be offensive by any means. I said, but can I be real with you for a moment? And she said, yeah. I said, is it safe to say that these bills that you have, they're going to be coming in every single month? And she said, yeah, they come in every month. I said, well, how does it feel right now knowing that you're struggling to, and I reiterated, I said, listen, if I'm crossing the line here, tell me to stop, because I'm just saying this because I want to help you. How does it feel? Because I know what it's like to be struggling every month, where it's like the bills keep coming in and every little dollar that I would make has to go right back out to the bills. Sometimes I don't even know if I'm going to make my bill payment on time. So she said, well, I don't really like it. And I said, okay, let's take it one step further. Forget about your bills for a moment. Forget about Legal Shield. Forget about the $99 investment. If you found an opportunity that could give you everything you want out of your life, what would that end goal look like? And so she started talking about, she wants to travel, all this stuff, like getting into her why, right? But then she started talking about how her son, I think, was 21. She's never been able to take him on a vacation. So I was like, that's a good goal. So I said, now let's backtrack for a moment. Legal Shield has a system in place. I'm not here to collect $99 from you, because let's be honest, coming from California, even if I was to take your $99, I can't get really far with it. It'll give me a tank and a half of gas, maybe, right? Like I can't really do anything with it. So understand, I'm just putting that into perspective. But and then I said to her, when is the bill due? And the bill was due like 2 weeks from now, right? Or from that point. And I don't know if I'm confusing anyone. My whole point is, I'm just asking questions around the objection that gets her thinking, okay, if I invest this $99, man, I really do want to take my son on this trip. You know what? The bills are going to continue to come in. Hey, what if I invest this $99 and in the next 20 days, it turns into $320? Now I'm telling her, hey, if we can help you do that, guess what? Maybe that particular $99 bill is going to be covered for the next 2 months, 3 months, because you just made $320 in commission. Would that alleviate some stress from your life? And she said, yeah. So I'm just, again, not everyone's going to be open to having a conversation like this, but I just figured one day, I was like, you know what? I'm getting these objections. I'm sick and tired of saying, man, this guy's an idiot, or this girl's an idiot, or they're dumb, or, they don't know any better. I mean, I was very just, like, I don't know if I can share this. I hope I'm not out of line by any means.
It's just you and me talking. No one's actually even listening.
So I was following up with someone today, and this was a work from home lead. I actually I recorded this video and I sent it to David Guidros and Andy Entrikin because I thought it was funny. So I called this guy, right?
Oh, Andy's coming to the house, by the way.
He is?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Awesome. I can't wait. That's going to be so much fun. So I called this guy in like New Mexico or something. I was following up with him. This is an objection that I've gotten from a lot of people lately, is the foul language thrown at you and then the hanging up, right? Like people are like, stop calling, but they use different choice of words, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is based on what you wanted to share, but I had to share this because I thought it was great. So I called this guy, and the moment I had already spoke to him, I already prospected him. I sent him the video. He watched the video. I was following up with him. The moment he answered the phone, him and his girl just cursed me out and hung up. So I called back, and he cursed me out again and hung up. So I called back and he cursed me out. And I was like, bro, you need to calm down. And then he hung up. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to call him one more time. Because at this point, my blood was boiling, right? So I called him back, ready to lay it out to him. And he answered very politely. And he was like, hello? I said, hi, can I speak to Jared? And my blood, I was getting ready to just like, you know, like the personal development in me was about to leave. Right? And he was like, yes, who's this? Like, just very professional. And anyways, I was like, hey, I've been trying to call you because you wanted to work from home. Long story short, he ended up saying, yeah, I'll take a look at it. He filled out the questionnaire on Prospect, and I have a follow-up call with him. But it's just like, dude, at some point, you know, you just have to you have to think bigger than the objections. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, so a few things, and I appreciate you sharing. Okay. Here's a story on top of that story, right? So same thing. I was with my sponsor years ago, who brought me on board, and we met this guy at a gym. We talked to him, and he's like, yeah, give me a call. And he's super friendly guy, and he goes, just don't call me on a cloudy day. Ha ha ha! I was like, that's kind of weird. Who says that? Okay. So my buddy calls him up a few days later, and it was raining that day. And the guy was like totally Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. He's like, you son of a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I was like, he wasn't joking about the cloudy day bit, but weird how people can just flip like that.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I think number one, you know, everyone needs to understand objections are normal. In fact, you should welcome them, right? Because if you're not getting them, that means people aren't really telling you what's going on. Would you agree with that?
Or if you're not getting them, you're not, let's be real, you're not doing the business.
You're just not doing anything.
Yeah, you're not doing anything. You're maybe making an exposure, but you're not following up.
Now, let me ask you this. So I have a guy, and he's getting over this, but he felt like when he was getting certain objections, like that was like a personal attack on him. Like that guy doing that to you, do you think it had anything to do with Bhavan or just?
You know, I used to let the objection, and sometimes I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm not perfect by any means. Sometimes when objections come my way, I do immediately go back to this old mindset where, you know, like if you were to tell me, hey, you know, that looks like a pyramid scam and I'm not interested, or pyramid scheme and I'm not interested. I used to go into this, well, I'm not good enough. Like, why is he rejecting it? Why doesn't he see the value in it? And I used to take it as an attack on me, but that was also because I was comparing myself to somebody else. Right. I was saying, you know, Josh Lockhart, anybody he talks to will join him, and anybody I talk to just rejects the business. Maybe it's something wrong with me. So once I got over that, that's when my mind, actually, I'm not patting myself on the back by any means. I'm not taking credit for this, but I don't recall ever having someone tell me this way of handling objections, right? Because I just was like, you know, at one point I was like, you know what? God, universe, whatever you believe in, I just said, God, I'm open to figuring out what I'm doing wrong when I get these objections. Like, how is it that other people have rhino skin and laugh about rejections or welcome objections, and I take an objection and, you know, one objection, I'm like, dude, I don't want to do anything the rest of the day. I feel worthless, right? So once I opened myself up to just looking for answers, I started getting objections, and I just thought, you know what? Let me just ask somebody, why do they feel that way? Like, why do you feel that this is, you know, why do you feel that this is sales? You know, and you're going to say, well, I got to take somebody from, you know, and show them what this does and explain it to them. And I don't have time for that. And you just go on this journey of asking them questions, letting them share with you, because you'll start to realize that the original objection they had was not actually an objection per se. It was they weren't, like I said earlier, they didn't see the value in Legal Shield giving them this lifestyle that they want. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, do you think for many people when they like, as soon as you say something and they hit you with whatever objection, you think it's almost like that guy, he answered the phone, who knows what triggered him, but it was just a knee jerk reaction, right? Somebody presents something to you, you go, oh, I got to think about it. Or, oh, I don't have the time. Or, oh, I don't have the money. It's just almost like your natural response to object. Do you think that's the case for some people?
Yeah, I'll never forget. I was sitting down with one of my friends years ago. We used to play high school tennis together and all this stuff. And I ran into him randomly at the gym. So I was like, hey man, we sat down, and I'll never forget. I said to him, I said, hey, so what did you like best about, it was prepaid legal at the time. What did you like best about prepaid legal? And he was like, well, it looks like one of those pyramid schemes. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, it was a pause. And he honestly was like, actually, I don't know, but you know how people say that stuff all the time? Like, I don't know what they mean by it, but I feel like this is one of those. This is exactly what he said. So to answer your question, I think people they're so, not closed-minded, but they're trying to protect themselves so much that, like you said, it's that immediate response.
So let's go. So a couple of things I want to get to. And then I definitely want to get into some framework about handling objections, which you've already kind of demonstrated in your stories. But so what I found is, like, you can take what people say, the objection, and they fit into certain buckets, right? They fit into, I don't have belief in the company. I don't believe what you're telling me, right? Like, you present the service. I don't believe that that I could use it. I don't believe it delivers what it says it does. I don't, you know what I mean? It's probably not in the Better Business Bureau, even though it is, right? I don't believe. Or it's, I don't believe I can do it, right? So I hear what you're saying. I don't believe it, I can do it, or I don't believe it's possible. It's like one of those three. So if I say I don't have the money, it could mean I don't have the money. Now, I would say 95% of the time, it's not actually about the dollar amount. It's about,
I agree completely.
I don't believe I can do it. I don't believe it's possible. I don't believe what you're saying. I don't believe you. I don't have the time. Now, I'll give you a story on this one. Had a guy, sharp guy, entrepreneur guy, when I was living in North Carolina. He came to an event. He was looking at the opportunity, and he goes, man, I don't know. I'm really busy. I don't know if I just don't think I have the time. And some knucklehead in the back, Mikhail Hancock, this was in your neck of the woods, some knucklehead in the back who had nothing to do with the conversation jumps over me and was like, you have the time. If you're serious, you have the time. And I'm like elbowing him, like, get out of here.
Damn.
And so we start talking. I take the guy aside, we start talking, and I found out it had nothing, when he said, I don't have the time, what he meant was, I don't know if I have the time to make the type of income that I really want to make. Right. So now it was a question of, like, can I do it? Right. So I would say, like your story, so you have to find out, is it that, okay, you just don't have money because you don't have a job, you don't have income, you're destitute. If you don't have the time, is it because you're working 16 jobs and, you can't do anything? Or is
student?
What's really going on behind there? So just keep in mind, when you get the objection, which bucket of belief does the objection fall into?
I think, when it comes to belief, it also, I've noticed that when I'm talking to someone, I'm not trying to bring back old stuff, but a great way to handle objections is to share your story. People, a lot of the objections that people have where I don't believe it's possible for me. I don't think I have the money. I don't have the time, whatever the case is. Well, if you just share your story, which I did one of your Young Pros training back in December on sharing a story. a lot of times the story helps dissolve those objections, right? You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know if that's off topic, but I've noticed that when I'm sharing my story, it's almost like I'm handling the objections because I'm already addressing the objections in my story. You know, when I got started, or when I first saw this is where my life was. I was a broke college student, no future, no belief in myself. I saw this, I was skeptical, but you know, after looking into it, it made sense. And now this is where my life is today. Now I've got the time, I have the belief, I have the income. So you're already addressing some of those objections in your story.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. So I think of one time I was talking to a potential customer, and she's like, yeah, you know, I could use it. I don't know how much I would use the service. Right. And that's what she says to me. And I was like, hey, listen, I totally agree. I'd never used an attorney before, never thought that I would. But what happened is after I got the service and I told her about my cell phone overcharging me, I was like, yeah, it was crazy. It was a couple $100. They kept giving me the runaround. Law firm wrote a letter. They credited my account. It was amazing. Saved me a few $100s. She's like, oh my gosh, the same things happen with my cell phone company right now. She's like, I could use it for that. I was like, yeah. So she gets a service. She uses it. It works. Then she's like, hey, can I do what you're doing? And she signs up like 12 customers her first month. You know what I mean? And it was like, and I'm thinking of all these scenarios of people who they're like, no, because, and then you get past it and you find out what's really going on. And then not only do they convert, but then they're like your biggest fan.
I think when it comes to, you know, addressing the most common objection people get, I think the most common objection is the money objection. At least for me, I've actually gotten more lack of money versus pyramid scheme or no time. Yeah. I've gotten the money objection more because people don't, unfortunately, people don't want, they're thinking I have to part ways with my hard-earned money. You get what I'm saying? So that brings up the whole, I don't want to, you know, I don't have the money. So I think what really helps with that is if they're open to talking, you know, I mean, if you know, you're writing this down or whatever, if they're open to talking, ask them questions that revolve around helping find out what their why is. Because when you do that, if we get them to start, like this lady went from, I don't have the $99. I mean, I almost like put her in this state of feeling like she was about to get this money to take her son on a trip. He's been wanting to go to Walt Disney World in Orlando forever. She's never been able to take him. He's 21. And we just started talking. I said, man, how, you know, I've been to the Walt Disney World Resort. It was incredible. It went from, I don't have the $99 to, I'm going to find a way to get the $99. Like it just got her mind thinking, not from, I can't do this, but she started thinking, how can I do this? And I think when we get them to think, how can I versus I can't, their mind opens up more to the possibility, right? It's like, when I was growing up as a kid, if my dad ever, said to do something, or if I told my dad I want to get something, my mom and dad, and I said, man, I can't get it. And he's like, yeah, you're right. You're never going to get it. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, you're telling yourself you can't get it. Right. He's like, how about you start telling yourself, how can you get it? How can you make this work? And if we can help them think that way, then they are going to search for ways to find the money to get started.
For sure. Now, I do want to I want to throw a disclaimer out on this one, right? So if for anybody out there that sees this, if you're getting no money, like a huge percentage of the time, like 80, 90% of the time, if that's what you're getting,
you're probably talking to the wrong people.
Yeah. I had this guy on my team one time. He's like, everybody's talking to no money. And I was like, well, tell me about them. What are their jobs? And it was like, no one had a job. I was like, dude, you need to go meet some new people. And he did. That fixed it. So make sure
you're right. Let me look. I mean, with all due respect, I mean, I'm not, prospecting.
No, I know. I'm just
Yeah, no. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm talking to people. That's why, but that's why it's important when they say I don't have the money. I just straight up say, hey, Josh, can I just be honest with you? Can I ask you a real question for a moment? Are you open to having a conversation? And I'll say, Josh, listen, before you answer that, I'm not trying to convince you to do Legal Shield. I just want to ask you an honest question. Is that okay? Say, yeah. Say, is it that you really don't have the $99? Or is it that you have the money, but maybe your belief in Legal Shield is not there yet to make that investment because that $99 is allocated for something else? So when you ask that, then you can also find out that a majority of the people that say they don't have the money actually have it, but they don't believe in. I mean, I've been prospected by other people from other companies before, and I don't believe in some of the stuff that's out there. I mean, I'm just being completely candid in some of the products, right? So I'm not going to buy some of these products if I don't believe it, right? Now, of course, that's besides the point because nobody can ever take me away from Legal Shield. I've been here far too long and seen far too much success to know that there's nothing like what we have here.
Right. So I want to break down what, kind of what you're saying, but I want to give some people some steps. And I love what you said about, let me ask you a question, right? So I think sometimes, especially when you get into like old school sales training, if you guys ever gone to that, right? It's like, you think of, I got to overcome the objection. So as soon as somebody hits you with whatever the objection is, you're just like fast talking, mow them over. Well, yeah, but and it's like, no, you're not going to win anybody. And I'll say this, like, here's like one of my personal laws, right? You have a law, like something you always do or always don't do. You cannot, this is what I believe. You cannot challenge somebody over a text message, right? If you tell me, I don't have the money, and I try to come back and challenge your argument over a text message, it's never worked for me. It's never worked for me because they're just like, I'm not dealing with this person. I'm just not going to respond. So that's that. But one thing you said ask for permission. So, for everybody watching, right, that you heard him go through some of these stories. I love what you did because, you're like, hey, can I be honest with you? Or can I be real with you? Can I ask you a question? You're taking the time to understand and not just talking to be understood. And that's like the person will pause and go, yeah, be real with me, right? I don't want you to just say some stuff. And so then when you do that, right, their ears are open. So I love that you did that. And there's different, like, he mentioned feel, felt, found, but here's just like 3 things to consider every time you get an objection, right? And he did this. He said this in his story, but number 1 is agree, right? You're not gonna, somebody goes, I don't have the money. And you're like, yes, you do. Like if you disagree with them, it doesn't matter, right? It's their perspective it's like their word against yours. And as soon as you disagree, you're wrong. And the goal is to help them. It's not to be right.
And on what you just said real quick, and remember, if you make yourself right, you make them feel like they're wrong and they're not going to want to talk to you then. Like if you say something like, well, hey, like you just said, hey, I know you got the $99, you got a job or whatever, or, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you've been working for the last 20 years and haven't saved $99. Like that's not making anybody feel better.
Trust me. I used to say that I've said that to people when I was a little bit younger in my, I used to be like, oh man, this guy's dumb. You're dumb. You've been working for XYZ amount of years and you don't even have $249 saved. And in my head, I'm thinking, bro, you had to ask your mom and dad for $249 to join this business. So,
or like, I don't have the time. Everybody's got 24 hours a day. It's just priorities.
Yeah.
Come on. So just agree, right? Number 2. So there's 3 A's: agree, acknowledge, right? Acknowledge what they said, right? And this is just really just acknowledging their feelings, not making them wrong for feeling a certain way. And then ask, right? Ask a question. So, the feel, felt, found, you can tell But in the people that are best at sales, and this is kind of a sales realm. I know people like, oh, sales is bad. The best salespeople on planet Earth, you would listen to them and go, they're not a salesperson, because they do more listening than talking. They ask more questions than tell people what to do. Right? You would think that they're opposite of the quote unquote salesperson, right? So, and they're always ending their sentences in asking questions. Now they don't avoid questions, but they'll ask a question back, and that's what you did, right? So, hey, I don't have the money. Hey, listen, I'm with you. I was in the same boat, no problem. But listen, is it that you physically don't have the $99, or it's allocated somewhere different, or I get this one. This happens a lot. I'll get people that say, well, I don't have the money. What they mean, though, is I don't have the money right this second, but I get paid tomorrow, or I get paid on Friday. And it's like, okay, we'll just reschedule for tomorrow. Like, no problem. Actually, the guy I was talking to as you were hopping on right before we went live, he's like, oh, I get paid Friday. You know what I mean? But it's like, sometimes we're so quick to just, we're thinking about what to say next. We're not listening. So we hear him say, they don't have the money. They go, oh, okay, they're not interested, this, and this. He's like, oh no, I mean, I'll have it. I get paid Friday. No big deal.
Yeah. And I get a lot of that. And what I usually do is I'll do one of two things. Some people agree with me, some don't. I'd love to get your take on it. If Josh says, you know what, I don't have the money right now, but I get paid on Friday, say, hey, great, I got an idea. I lost my train of thought. Well, I can't remember exactly what I said, but my whole point is I say, hey, great, I got an idea. Hey, Josh, let me ask you something. Obviously, you see value in Legal Shield, right, in the service? Say, yeah, of course, man, it's great. The will and all this stuff. Said, do you think it's safe to say that a lot of the people that you and I come across or know could really benefit from the service? Yeah, absolutely. I got an idea, Josh. You know what? It's what is it? It's 3:40 my time right now. Let's say I'm in Nevada, actually, not California anymore. Say, hey, it's 3:40 my time. It's 3:40 right now. Listen, you're going to get started on Friday when you get paid, right? I'm taking you on your word. Absolutely. How would you like to not only get started on Friday and get with Legal Shield, but when you get started, how would you like to get paid right away too? Say, yeah, of course. Say, all right, who are 3 people you can put me on the phone with right now so I can share the same information with on your behalf? And when they're ready to get started, we'll fill out the paperwork. And when you come on board as an associate on Friday, boom, we'll process them under you. Some people agree with that. Some people don't.
Well, I think, now what you're really doing is you're book a meeting from a meeting, bam, fam. And now we're talking about follow-up because,
I know this was about objection. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, this is important. So for anybody that's watching out there, right? If you would, it'll help us, right? For future episodes, right? What's a challenge that you find, right? Is it objections? Is it finding people to talk to? Is it getting people started? Is it referrals? Like, what's something that you feel like you need help with? And we'll have an expert to handle that. But anyway, a lot of times people say, okay, whether it's getting the service, starting the business, today's whatever today is, Tuesday. And they're like, okay, call me. Let me talk to my spouse and, we'll talk in a couple of days, or I get paid in a couple of days, or, whatever the case is. And it's like, it gets pushed till later. Maybe it's a couple of days. So like I had a guy, he wanted to get the service. He's like, I just need a little bit of time. So I could, there's a bunch of crazy stuff I could say. I was like, well, hey, and he was like very vague about it. Oh, I got some things coming up. People say, yeah, I got too many irons in the fire. I got, my ducks aren't in a row. Got too much on my plate, all the weird stuff. And so I said, well, hey, do you need a couple of days, couple of weeks, or a couple of months? And he's like, oh yeah, just a week or two. So now it's a week or two. Okay. And so I said, hey, okay. And this was Friday. And I said, okay, great. So if I called you next week, that'd be fine. So now we're to next week. And I was like, okay, great. So if I called you, what do you think? Like Tuesday or Wednesday? And he's like, oh, okay, by Wednesday. So now like we got a day, we got a time. But in between that time, right? What can you do to keep your person engaged, right? So like what you just did was, okay, the date's Friday. Great. We have a solid date. We got a plan of action. But hey, is there things that we could do in the between time? So it's not like I'm just going to forget you until it's time for you to give me some money, right? Or somebody goes, hey, I want to get the service, right? Maybe you could get them more information. Maybe you could send them things. Maybe you could send somebody this podcast while they're thinking about getting started to give them some more things to keep thinking about you, keep thinking about your service, keep thinking about, doing business with you, right? So I think that was good. That was super helpful. So
I like what you said real quick. I'm sorry for cutting you off. I just wanted to address what you just said. If someone tells me, oh, I need some more time, I got to think about it, give me a few days, give me a couple weeks or whatever. On that, I'm not going to say, hey, Josh, I know you need some time to think about it, but who are 3 people we can talk to? I'm not going to do that because maybe that may not be the right moment. So what I do in that regards is I will say, hey, Josh, okay, let's say we set a call up for next Wednesday. Say, hey, in the meantime, is it okay if I send you some more information to review on the membership? Says, yeah, send me a video. I'll send a test. Actually, I've even gone as far as like today, I had someone in North Carolina that wants to actually get started on Friday. And I said, but he wanted more information. So I sent him a couple of membership testimonials. And then I asked him, I said, hey, what state are you in? He said, I'm in North Carolina. I said, you know what? Let me do this. I'm actually going to send you the website for the law firm that our members in North Carolina have access to, so you can also see the credibility behind the attorneys. Once I do that, it also makes it a little bit more real, because now they're like, okay, this is an actual law firm that I, as a member in North Carolina or whatever state I'm in, this is my provider law firm. So I actually sent him, I sent him a text. Well, I'll have to scroll through and find it. But I put some testimonial videos, and then I put the website for the law firm in North Carolina. So you can see it. It makes it more real too. So that's my take.
Yeah. Well, you're increasing credibility. That's awesome. So a couple things before we get out of here, right? So if you want to connect with everything Young Pros, right? You want to make sure you get all the podcasts. You want to make sure you're following us on Instagram so you can see when Bhavan's going to be on the beach, doing something, right? You can check out the Instagram, our training calls, be on our newsletter, all the stuff, right? You want to go to youngproconnect.com, enter in your information at the bottom. There's the links. They'll get you everywhere. But just again, so you have something in your notes, right? So the next time you get an objection, you're like, oh, what do I do about it? And you want to practice these, because if you don't know what you're going to say, right, the moment will pass. Somebody says, I don't have any time. And you're like, and then now it's gone, right? So you do want to practice. But just remember the 3 A's, right? Agree, acknowledge, ask. Agree, acknowledge, ask. Somebody says, hey, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I'm with you. Hey, I know how you feel. Hey, I was the same way. You're acknowledging, and then acknowledge that, hey, that's a real thing. I totally get it. I've been there. I know somebody that was there. My business partner was there. But hey, let me ask you a question. Let me get real with you for a second. Do I have your permission? You know what I mean? So they say, I don't know what I would use it for. Say, hey, listen. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. It froze on my end, so I thought you had stopped.
So somebody says, well, I don't know what I'd use that for. I said, hey, listen, I know how you feel. I'd never use an attorney ever. Never thought that I would. Since I've had the service, I've used it over 60 times. It saved me $20,000 above and beyond what I paid for it. Right. So let me ask you here. Let me share with you a couple things that I've used it for. And you let me know if it's stuff that you've ever encountered or could see yourself encountered. And maybe I share a couple stories. Right. And then, I like to ask people like, hey, I don't know. What are 3 things that you would use this for? And let them tell me, hey, would you actually, like, the will's free? Would you actually take the time to fill it out? A lot of times it's like, yeah, I would. Sometimes it's like, no, I wouldn't. And so it's like, we find ourselves pushing, oh, you can get this done. They're like, and they're basically telling you, I wouldn't get it done even if I had it. So maybe that's not important to them. Maybe it's something else, right? So agree, acknowledge, ask. And yeah, I like that. Ask for permission. Hey, can I get real with you for a second? That was good.
And you know, I think when someone says they don't have the time, they're super busy or whatever, if they are open to having a conversation, that's a perfect segue to find out about their why. So if Josh says, hey, you know what, this whole Legal Shield thing, man, I got too much on my plate right now. I don't have the time to do this. Of course, we know, do a 3-way call, but maybe Josh doesn't want to get on, you know, like he's just like, look, dude, I'm just not interested. I don't have the time, right? One of the ways I also handle the objection is say, hey, Josh, you know, again, hey, can I ask you a question real quick? Like, can I just want to know about why you feel you don't have the time. And if he says, yeah, I say, let me ask you, man, what do you do? Like, I mean, is it just that your job or you got a family? You know, if I don't know him, of course. And he might say, you know what, man, I got 2 full-time jobs. I got a wife and kids at home, or, you know, wife and 2 daughters, or wife and a son and a daughter at home. And say, hey, that's amazing, man. So it sounds like, you know, obviously you're working hard to provide for your family. He said, yeah, man, that's why I got these 2 jobs. You know, one of them, I love what I do. The other one is just, you know, we got 2 kids. I mean, each child costs a lot of money.
Just paying the bills. Just got to pay the bills, right?
Yeah. And when you do that, you tend to find out they're already opening up to you. So you're addressing the objection, but at the same time, in their eyes, you're showing concern. Like you're just showing them, like you said, you're asking them about them. You know, what brought about the 2 jobs? Well, I got to pay off my student loans and I got to provide for the family. I say, hey, man, what do you do? I work here and I sell cars at this dealership, or whatever the case is. And if you just get to know them and keep asking questions, like I might say, hey, man, that's, you know what, Josh, I have to commend you, man. I think it's amazing that you work so hard to provide for your family. I mean, I want to tell you, man, I wish more people had that heart like yours. I think that's amazing. And I'm being genuine about it. And from there, I say, hey, let me ask you something, Josh. You want to provide so much for your family and you're doing these 2 jobs. Forget about my opportunity for a moment. If you could have this dream lifestyle with your family where you didn't have to work the 2 jobs, what would that look like for you? Man, I'd get up, I'd be able to play with my kids a little bit in the morning, drop them off to school, maybe surprise them with lunch at lunchtime, go on the school field trips, take that family vacation, whatever. So now they start talking about why they're working so hard to provide for their family. Once they give you their why, you can say, hey, listen, Josh, I know you said you don't have a lot of time with Legal Shield to do Legal Shield, but if I can help show you a way where we can make that lifestyle a reality for you, where maybe you can, over the next few months, walk away from one of your jobs or both of your jobs, would you at least be open to hearing me out? He says, yeah. Boom, put him on a 3-way call, right? I might put him on a 3-way call with somebody like Mike Cabardia, who had 3 full-time jobs and, you know, because of Legal Shield was able to walk away from all of his jobs, and now he's a full-time dad, right? So I'm making it a point to not let the objections stop me from continuing the conversation, right? I want to know, because you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's great stuff. That's great stuff. I mean, I think all the examples and everything was some like real, like that's what people are really dealing with. They're like, oh man, how do I handle that? How do I handle that? So, all right, well, cool. In closing, anything we missed? I don't think it is. I think we pretty much hit on most of the stuff that we can talk about. Just kind of having that framework to have the conversation.
If they don't want to have a conversation after they give you the objection, then you can be like, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't know any better. You know, I remember one time, I got to tell you, this is like the lack of personal development in me in my early years. I was prospecting this guy at 24 Hour Fitness. He worked the graveyard shift, right? So I gave him some information and he looked at it and I think he had said something like, oh, it's not for me, or, oh, it's a scam, I'm not interested, whatever. And we were going back and forth. He was just throwing objections at me and I was getting angry. And I remember telling him, I said, hey, you know what? it's all good because somebody's got to work the midnight shift so I can get my workout in. And I just hung up the phone and I was like, oh man, I really need to check my ego. So that was like 10 years ago or something.
Oh, that's good. That's good. No one watching has ever done anything like that, right? For sure. But
hey, somebody's got to make my burger. Whatever. I mean, don't say that, you guys. Get to know.
I'll take you off my list of most successful people today. Man, Bhavan, appreciate your time. Appreciate everybody being out there and checking this out. Right, you can go and catch the latest episode we have out on youngproshowcase.com. We'll have this up over there, but appreciate you guys. We'll be back next week. Make sure to share this with somebody that can be helpful because we want to help more people, help more young professionals that up their game. We'll see you guys next week.